Hello. Welcome to the Gnomon stream. My name is Chris. I'm your host for this evening. And today you've joined in on production ready stylized characters. First, I want to say if you're looking for closed captioning, go ahead and head over to our Facebook page. We have closed captions there for you. Secondly, I want to say thank you to Lenovo. Without Lenovo, we wouldn't be able to have amazing events such as this one right now. And if you're curious about the other events that we have coming up, go ahead and check out all of our social media platforms. You can see that we have awesome events live stream as well as on stage back at the Gnomon campus. If you haven't gotten a chance to come to the Gnomon campus, make sure that you stop by. You may see me. I do work here after all. It's very possible that that will happen, but come and say hi. I'll probably have a sticker for you. Now that that is all out of the way, I'd like to take a second and talk about tonight's guest. Now, tonight's guest is a freelance 3D character artist based in Chile, and she's worked on projects such as Transformers Earthspark, Little Bird, Punkrobot, and a May the 4th project named In the Stars. Please welcome Carol Cornils.
Hi
They're
everyone, nice to meet
they're
you.
they're clapping. You can't hear it, but they're clapping. It's definitely happening. The whole plot, all that kind of stuff. Now, before we got on the stream, I said we were going to talk a little bit about you and your journey and all of that. But before we get into that chat, very important. Carol has told us that her favorite ice cream is mint chocolate chip. So if you could go ahead and put your favorite ice cream in the chat too, we can have a nice little discussion about that. But okay, sorry. You were Carol. I'm Chris. Why don't you tell us about your journey? How did you get into art? Why don't you talk us through your whole process here? How you got from then to now?
Um, well, that's a long one because I've been always drawn to art. Like since before I have memories, I was always drawing, sketching, playing with plasticine, and I really don't remember when I started, but I always felt super compelled to the creative things, more on the side of like understanding how things are formed since very little. I always like it to how you say, trace over magazines the faces of the models to understand how to draw a face and stuff like that. It was only natural that when I got out of school, I enrolled in arts. Um, well, I really liked animation, and animation as a career was very new in Chile at that time. So I didn't really trust what they were teaching then, and I decided to take the fine arts route and then see what happened with it.
And so you did. And if we back up a little bit, what intrigued you about animation? Did you watch any animation growing up, or were you just always a fan from afar?
Well, my mom was a super big fan of Disney animation, and I was very obsessed with anime when I was a teen, obviously, like
Obviously, we were
most
just
of
talking about
us.
it.
Yeah. Um, and I think what really caught my attention back then into the animation route was these video clips from Daft Punk that were the Interstellar 5555.
Oh, yeah. I think I know what
Yeah,
you're talking about.
yeah, those ones came out around the time I was um, in the later years of school. So yeah,
So
but
then
in
animation was always interesting to you, but then it just never it seemed like it never left. Like you got in with Disney, but then anytime you saw more and more animation, it was still fun and still exciting, which is good.
yeah, yeah, the thing is that I got a bit lost during my time in university. like I got super into traditional art, and we didn't have this routine of going to the cinema with my family. It was like we watched movies with the rental system back then.
Hmm.
And I didn't continue to watch movies when I was in university, so I kind of lost the animation idea during those 4 years that my program lasted. And I got very into games, specifically World of Warcraft. Yeah, yeah,
Go
that's
pop
very
off.
addictive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Don't even get me started.
yeah, I
I've
played
played
Warlock.
I played this game called Final Fantasy 14. This is another MMO that is just MMOs are just
Yeah.
if anybody's in school or you're going to be an artist, just don't do it to yourself. Focus on your drawing. You have so much to live for. Okay, so you got into World of Warcraft.
Yeah. And well, it was in my off time, like I drew a lot. I was the one of the kids that did the homework and that did it in time. So I didn't got in trouble like during my studying days with the game, but I would spend all my free time playing. And
So the real question is, how much sleep did you get?
well, my sleep schedule was very messed up
Yeah,
as
I
it's
can
today.
imagine.
um, because I would get home. Well, I was studying in a different city from where I lived back then, and the pension. I'm not sure if you say like that in English, but in Spanish we say it pension,
Okay.
which is the place that you rent to stay in the other city.
Okay.
um, I would get there and I would sleep like 2 hours, 3 hours in the afternoon, evening, and then I would stay awake until 3, 4 in the morning doing my homework. I would sleep again a few hours, go to school, um, do the how you say the theoric read for the theoric classes in the trajectory. And
Uh-huh.
well, most of the classes were workshops, so I didn't have to read that much.
Hmm.
So it was crazy. And during the theoric classes, I usually fell asleep, but I got this weird ability. I developed a weird ability that I could take notes while I was sleeping. I
No
would
way.
transcribe the exact same thing that the teacher was saying.
So
And
you
some
so you
teachers would
discovered a
repeat. So
superpower.
yeah, yeah, it was super weird. And it was during a short period of years, and I couldn't ever do that again. So,
Oh, so it
and
came and then it went.
yeah, and it's funny because I could only read notes when I was sleepy because the how you say the letters were so messed up that I couldn't really read them when I was awake.
Hmm. I see. I see. So you played World of Warcraft. You were doing the fine art thing. You got into the MMO. Do you think that World of Warcraft kind of inspired you a little bit to go back into stylized or to do this stylized stuff? I mean, this what you do now versus what you were studying with the fine art. It looks amazing first and foremost. If you haven't gotten a chance to check out Carol's work, you should definitely check it out. The Game Boy playing Tiger is quite phenomenal. I was very excited about that. Um, but do you feel that World of Warcraft influenced that at all, or that was just the start to kind of get back into it?
It was just a start because, well, back then when I just got out of the university, I was trying the traditional art route. Um, I graduated as a printmaker, a traditional one, and I specialized in in etching in copper. And
Oh
my
wow.
artwork back then was mostly landscapes of mountains and stuff like that. So, well, I tried for a few years to sell my stuff to no avail. I don't know.
That's right. That's
And
right.
found no success at all. Like, no way. Like, I think I sold like 120 bucks 1 year during a full year. That was my income.
Yeah.
So I was working part-time, like selling stuff, super random. And during that very low time in my life, I met with some friends that I had from childhood, and they were working in games, but they were programmers. One of them was George Laskowski, and the other one is Daniela Diaz, who's my best friend today. And they both told me that the company where they were working, which was the same one for them, for both, Behavior Interactive, they had a studio in Santiago back then, was looking for artists. And I said, hey, do games need art? Like, it never occurred to me, like spending like a year playing World of Warcraft of my life, because it counts the hours,
Yeah.
that a game would need art. And then I went crazy, thinking that I could become sort of matte painting, because that was the specialty that looked the closest to my work back then. And when I started using the 3D programs, like to create the mountains and stuff, I can started getting in this thing of 3D. And funnily enough, the first thing that I did in Max, because that was the first program that I used,
Mhm.
was trying to recreate a human face. So for me, 3D, for me that I was used to drawing mountains, like 3D felt like the figure that I was missing in this universe in my head. So
That's pretty awesome. So you transfer from doing landscape stuff to what you're doing now. And how did that? You don't still have that face, do you? That you did in what was
um,
it, 3ds Max or whatever it was?
I have the how you say it, the prints here. So if you give me a
Oh,
second, I can pick the frame.
it's okay. We won't have you move
It's a
around
big
too much.
frame.
But that's really cool that you had such a, you know, kind of long and in a way complicated story on your journey on getting from A to Z, because some people, do that all the time. There are people that want to get into ZBrush sometimes, and they're like engineers, or they were in the Navy, right? And they made like, engines and turbines and aeroplanes, but they want to make characters. So it's really cool to hear somebody going from something like landscapes to characters, and doing it as well as you're doing it. If you don't ever say that to yourself, don't worry. I'll tell you, you're doing great.
Thank you so
um,
much, but it was a learning curve. The first things that I did were like terrible
did
horror
it
stuff.
discourage you at all, or was it like
No, no,
exciting learning a new medium like that?
no. I already knew what was the way. I kind of felt stuck at that point with my drawing skills. So learning a new tool was very inspiring for me. And I started like during 2011, more or less. I started learning Photoshop, and that didn't really work well for me. Um, I, d- I mean, I could work with it, but it wasn't that great. It wasn't that good. And then when I met with my friends, and they talked to me about my programmer friends, and they talked to me about these different disciplines um, that they needed in the company. George presented me a friend from him that was an art director in the company for a little bit, and this art director showed me, gave me a few links where I could learn 3D. So that was the great stuff. Why I could actually start learning 3D, because otherwise I would be very lost.
And it's so wild that you literally live from print, which is flat, right, to 3D, which is like three-dimensional. It's kind
And
of
not
fun.
any print, it's like Rembrandt kind of printing.
Oh, okay.
Those techniques, I mean.
Oh, yeah,
Actually,
very fine art, actually, then.
the varnish that I used is based on the recipe that Rembrandt used for his printmaking. So it's literally from that age.
Oh, wow. So you were like really in it. Very fine art, like really,
Yeah.
really. That's pretty cool. Okay, so we were here for a purpose, by the way.
Yes,
We kind
yes,
of
we
got
were.
carried away. But I think it's exciting. It's always fun to hear a lot of that because you see the skill, and sometimes people see the skill and they go, "Wow, I don't have that. I can't learn that." So hearing that story is always really very reassuring. Um, and as just a side note here, we're going to take a small side note. Peanut ice cream. You ever had peanut ice cream? Apparently, people are saying peanut ice cream is like the way to
I've
go
had
here.
potato ice cream.
No,
It's super
really?
tasty. It's super good. Yeah.
Potatoes?
Yeah, potato. Sweet
Oh,
potato.
oh,
Well, in
sweet
Chile,
potato.
we have a ton of varieties of potatoes, so yeah,
I
they're good.
see. Is it purple? Or is it
Uh,
like a regular like orange sweet potato? Because I know there's different kinds of sweet potatoes, like
yeah, well,
ube, taro.
in the south, there is a potato that's purple. It's
Hmm.
called the bruja, the witch.
Ah. Oh,
Because
that's
when
cool.
they go bad, they scream.
Really? Wait.
Well, I don't know if it's just a coincidence or whatever, but
Yeah.
we bought those potatoes once, and I didn't manage to prepare them all in time. And when I was going to pick the potato to see if I could bake it, the thing was like filled with gases, and I touched it, and it like make a scream like sound. It was super scary.
Yeah, that would scare the bejesus out of me. Um, okay. Well, aside from getting scared from potatoes, you actually have added an other benefit to everyone else here on the live stream today. By them watching today, they all get access to your discount code for Gnomon Workshop, which is going to be displayed right here on the screen. Here we go. Boom. Carol C20. And in case you were wondering about Carol's Gnomon Workshop, let's find out what it's about right now.
Hi, I'm Carol Cornils, and I'm a freelance character artist based in Chile. I have experience in animation, advertising, and games, and I've been working professionally in 3D since 2014. After trying my luck in the world of traditional arts and learning 3D via tutorials and workshops like this one. In this class, I'll show one method of sculpting from a concept that focuses in achieving clean shapes, how I retopologize, shade, and present a production model with portfolio appeal.
Amazing. So today you actually have something queued up for us, right? It's based on a concept by Stephanie Rizzo. Is that right? Am I getting that
Yeah,
right?
Stephanie Rizzo.
Very cool.
Um,
Well, I'm
mhm.
I'm gonna go ahead and back up, and Grogu and I are gonna let you take it away.
Well, this is my screen. I'm going to be sculpting this concept by Steph Rizzo today. Hope you like it. And I have compiled here a bunch of reference for crocodiles, alligators, and such. We don't have alligators or crocodiles in Chile, so yeah, this is new territory for me.
What video? Yeah.
Um, and I'm going to start from a sphere, more or less, and show you my blocking process. And then I'll show you a little bit how to finish this. I think with the time we have, I'm going to be reaching a stage similar to this one with the character. But we can, after I explain the techniques, we can skip to these different stages if you prefer, so that we can speed up a bit and not repeat that much. How does that sound? Okay. So when you open ZBrush, you usually get this sphere. And in order to get the sphere that I was using, which is this one, which has a friendlier topology to deform, I usually just go to the transpose mode, and then I choose the, oh, my shortcuts aren't working. Sorry, guys. I'm going to have to restart ZBrush, it seems. Sorry. I'm really, really sorry. Well, this is easier. Fresh start from ZBrush. I usually start with the sphere. Yeah, they're working now. And I choose from here the insert mesh brush, YT, and I choose this polysphere. But if you are in the transpose mode, and you choose one of these figures, it's going to change the topology. Just make sure to make the polymesh 3D first, otherwise it's going to complain. There it goes. So let's go to mirror mode and start sculpting. I use a lot this see-through option to check my references behind. And I'm going to leave it at low level so that you can actually see what I'm doing, because normally I go this far when I'm working. And let's make a copy of this guy. This is pure ref for if you didn't know the software. So the next thing is choosing where to start with the character. I normally start with the heads, but this head is a bit weird, and I think I want to use the sphere shape for something more like the belly, and start from there. When you work with this low topology figures, and if you use smooth, it's going to deform way too fast. So I like to go to with shift selected, lower the intensity of smooth. And I have that saved here, like a smooth soft. This is a brush that I did on my own. Since I have too little geometry, I'll add a few more spans, edge loops with C-modeler, and then go back to smooth. This is a very humble workflow that I'm showing. I think it's very popular. Usually speaking, if you're just a beginner, ideally you want to have a side view and a front view for your character. Otherwise, you're going to be trying to pose it in 3 quarters like I'm doing here. And it can take a bit more of practice or imagination to get the shapes right. Also, if this geometry is looking a bit too stiff for you, you can use dynamic subdiv to make it smoother. And it's going to work just like a cage. So then I continue adding more spheres. To create this weird neck shape that he has. And I'm going to need more geometry. B is the shortcut to turn dynamic subdiv mode on and off. I mean on. To turn it off, you have to press Shift D. I'm going to focus more on the shapes. So if you have any questions about the technical side or the decisions that I'm taking, please go away. Ask away. Oh, that works for the eyes. The mouth it's a very weird shape that can be read as a triangle. Depending on if the character had a mouth open, I would do it separate. I would separate the upper and the lower part, but since the final pose has mouth closed, it's easier for me to think about the shapes having one single geometry. And to create big changes in shape, I love to use this deformer. Because it gives a lot of control. Cannot switch. Note that when you use the deformer, I always forget that it turns symmetry off. So if you make changes to your figure, you can use the deformation smart resin here. Smart resin. And if it doesn't work, maybe a mirror and weld. Oops. So yeah, this is basically all the tools that I use to block out a character. And it's also, I think, the most fun part of the process, because you can see big changes with very little effort. Once you get into smaller shapes, the progress feels a lot slower. Well, for the tail, using a sphere feels a bit of an overkill. I mean, I would have to add many spheres to create that. So let's go with a different brush. I like to use the curved tubes. It can be the multi-tube or the single. They work in the same way. And to create the tail in symmetry, I use a plane. Where are you? Oh, I'm working without perspective. Oops. 90 degrees. This is just for reference. If I move the curves on. Sometimes it works better without perspective. Yeah, that's the good one. Now, I know for certain that this geometry is duplicated because it was created in symmetry. I'm going to auto group and select just one. There's the duplicate and delete hidden. So yeah, that's the way. That's the fastest way I have to create a tube in symmetry. What I'm going to do, inflate.
Hey, we're back. We have a couple of questions for you, Carol, if you don't mind me asking while you're working.
Great, perfect. Ask away.
All right. So someone did ask for stylized characters. Okay. Would you rarely use Dynamesh?
Back in the day, I would use Dynamesh all the time, but today I use more Sculptis Pro, or how you say it, this thing, the zero measure. It depends a bit on the effect that I'm looking for. If I want to sculpt very detailed things and I need that the surface is very predictable, I'm going to favor Dynamesh over everything else. But since lately I've been working mostly with big shapes, Sculptris Pro is the next step that I'm going to use today. Works super good for me, and I don't have to be control recreating all the geometries. Instead, I'm just going to go with the smooth, modifying the topology where I need changes. So I think that's a great addition to ZBrush that in the beginning I didn't know how to use. And it took me a long time to kind of accepting the fact that I could do things different than Dynamesh. Because, sometimes getting rid of your favorite tool is not that easy.
Yeah.
Accepting there's a cuter pen that came out that has all the qualities that the one you were using before and were so used to it. It's not always easy.
I've definitely been there before. So how do you ensure that your low poly block in remains accurate if you don't have a character turnaround? I'm trying to ask these in a very exciting way.
Actually, I can't. I'm just imagining what could be or couldn't be this character and trying options. So whatever the 3D version of this character will end up being, from my perspective, it's probably going to be different than Steph's version of it, like what she had in mind in the first place. So that's what I like the most about working with trick quarters or weird perspectives, because I get a lot of freedom with the shapes, which I wouldn't if I had like the model sheet.
Right. And that's like really the fun part of it, right?
Yeah.
Is kind of injecting a little bit of you into it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is always fun. Okay, so let's see. We got some more questions, and again, if any of y'all have any questions for Carol during this, you can put them in the chat. We can ask them right away. Of course, we can ask them at the end. We can ask them during. We can't ask them before. That's the only thing we can't do.
Yeah, you have to do the question.
So, when working with dynamic subdivisions, do you ever apply them? And they put apply in quotes.
Here's the apply button. Yeah, I actually do. Honestly, when I was doing this, the first pass of this, like testing if I was going to be capable of sculpting this character in live, I went the long route, which is deactivating dynamic and dividing. Right, you have to turn off and dividing. Then applying with the delete lower. But the fastest way is actually just press apply, which is going to add these two subdivision levels right away. And it works amazing when I'm working with clothing. Let me try a topology brush. Oh, oops, do not switch. Brush topology. What's going on, dear? Multiple levels. Sorry, my bad. Okay, so when you use the topology brush, for example, I'm just going to create a random geometry. Smaller. Just to give me something to grab it. Oh, where are you? Okay, let me it hidden. Okay, let's say this is clothing. Yay, he got sleeves.
It's clothing. Look at his
Yay.
amazing
It's
sleeve.
clothing, very clothing. Yeah, an amazing sleeve. Very thoughtful sleeve. Oh, he became a seal now. Sort of. Sorry.
Yeah, a fish seal.
Yeah, it's kind of sealish. And well, dynamic subdiv. And you use dynamic, you can add thickness. Then you can, this is just a virtual geometry. So you can continue to edit this. Let's put the offset down so that it's more predictable. That way, you know, it's always the outer side, the one that counts. So you can edit your clothing in the way that you want. And once you are done, if you want to keep the cage, the low poly cage, you can turn off these smooth options, but you want to apply the thickness. So you leave it like this and just press apply. Voila. And now you can turn dynamic with the subdivisions and without thickness, and it will work like usual.
It just as a side note, it's always really amazing when somebody in ZBrush decides to take a little detour, shows something completely different at the speed of light, right? And then goes, okay, back to the demo, which is essentially what happened. Amazing.
What just happened? I'm trying to remember where I left this guy. Okay, since dynamic's working as I want it. Now you'll see me pressing this topological button, which turns on the topological mode for the move brush. There is a move topological, but I find it way easier to swap between using the normal move and swapping between topological on and off while using the same brush instead of pressing the whole shortcut, which I have forgotten for the actual move topological. You can find the topological in brush automasking topological. So it's here. Automasking. There. Down here. So that's a cool trick because you can apply it to every brush, and having it easy to access can save a lot of time for you. The pose is weird. I need to move the head way back. Okay. To put the gizmo on the center of the character, I turn off the symmetry. Well, I'm going to use the former anyway, so I'll have to turn it back on later. It's too many. I want to save this part and add weight to the back. No, I think it was something. It has to do with the perspective. Yep. Let's go delete. The head is a bit smaller. Yeah, the eyes are going to land anywhere because I'm not thinking about them. Let's split them there. And one thing that I noticed, when I was playing with this character before, is that the eyes don't align on the center of the mouth. It has like Snoopy eyes, like on one side of the face. So, but for the purpose of finding the general shape of this character, I'm working with the eyes as they were symmetrical first, and then I'm going to move them to the side of the head where I want them. Like once I have the character more or less in its shape, I'm going to do something like this for the pose. But it's always easier to work in symmetry in the beginning, so yeah. You save a lot of time. So what do you say if we skip to the next part? I think I've covered all the techniques that I used to create this version of the character. Wait, not this one, but this one. This guy is all spheres with extra edge loops from C-Modeler. I have to think on the shortcuts to remember the name of the brush. And it has these curved tube for the tail and for the arms. To create this little, what you say, no fangs, the nails?
Yeah, claws.
Claws,
Talons,
that's the word.
yeah.
That's the word. Yeah, fangs to the teeth. It's basically just a sphere, the same topological sphere. And I just pushed one side out and smoothed it a lot. So yeah, no big signs between those claws, just that. The hair is basically the same thing. Here's the form. And for the arms, well, sometimes insert mesh brush does this, that it will repeat the poly group when you are adding spheres and copy the last one. And when that happens, the way you can, and you want to differentiate the polygroups, you can, let's say this is all the same polygroup. You can grab, for example, a piece of one with this selection and Control-Shift-A and brings the whole selection visible. So then Control-W or group button. Where is it? Polygroups. Group. It was something group visible. You can separate the groups in symmetry. So that's a cool technique that I didn't know for the longest time, and it saves a lot of time. Now with this character, I think for this back noise, this back figures that he has, I'm going to break symmetry to add a bit more of interest. The fun thing about blocking the character this way is that you get very, very quickly the overall feeling of the character, and you can very easily change the direction if you don't like how it's feeling. So here I added this sphere here in the under part of the chin, and I'm not sure if I want to keep it because let's load the concept here to have it up in front. Texture, spotlight. I could make my ZBrush smaller also. Remember to turn off spotlight projection when you work like this, otherwise you won't be able to sculpt on the character unless it's under the figure. He has this fold under the chin, and I had this big shape that has nothing to do there, so I'm going to delete that one. And yeah, I think the next part would be to select and separate the pieces that you want to work in symmetry, or where you want to preserve for a bit longer the geometry that you already have, for example with the eyes, because you want to conserve that the most, the integrity of them for the longest possible duration of the project. And remove these little figures that are easy to destroy. Not the fingers yet. Split hidden. And the next thing I want to do, right, is pose this guy in a way that when I start merging the geometry, it won't merge the full arm to the body. So I want to separate the arms a little bit. And for this, I'm using to place the gizmo, I'm using the old transform version that you can turn on and off with Y. And you see here that since I have the same polygroups for all the claws, they are moving in weird directions. You can fix that with auto groups. It's going to make non-symmetrical groups, but this somehow helps ZBrush to read the proper placement of them. And voila. So this would be my version of the T-pose for this character, for the seated character. It won't be T-pose because he'll be semi-seated. And the legs is going to be a bit longer because, let me grab the fingers and make the single polygroup again. Things in order. And for the legs, it's the same thing. Separate the feet with the auto group technique. And let's place it in a way that it won't collapse on itself, and it will allow me to create these cute little folds when I pose him. And it's finally done. Just one more adjustment. And you'll find that the shapes here, they looked kind of acceptable before, but now you have to rebuild a bit the leg in a more acceptable manner. I'm not sure how crocodile's leg works. So I'm just going to make it up right now. Usually I would look for a reference, but all the references that I gather are, oh, here's a leg. Huh. Good. Thinking me of the past. This guy is so cute. Oh, come on, I want to see the leg. You know, just for the fun, I'm going to pose it like this. Just because it's cute. And I messed up the finger. I mean the claw. Oh. Different polygroups. Yeah, playing tricks on me. The different polygroups. Are they the same color? Yeah. It with the other ones. I think most people know, but just in case, when you work with polyframe, you can choose if you want to see the colors of the polygroups with the fill here in the border of the icon, and you can choose if to turn the lines on and off with the other corner of the icon. There's a word that says line and fill, but it's barely visible with my light bluish color. But it's there. Believe me, please. Let's go back to this. Oh, it's very thin there. I was just making things up. It's a bad idea to do this all the way out here. But anyway, let's deal with the consequences later. Bigger here. Now I'm using inflate and I can choose the topological because I have it there. No need to search it in the menu. And with the smooth, I can also turn topological on and off. Very useful. Very recommended. Yep, I think that's good to go. Let's do this apply dynamic and delete subdivisions. And now to continue working in this character and finally start sculpting, I'm going to merge all the parts with the remesh by union. What I like about this option is that it won't deform the shapes that you have. It will only delete the intersections. Lovely Boolean. And oh yeah, I did it again. It's not the first time. I merged the claws. I didn't want to. Whoa. Could be useful. They kind of merged here. Oh, let's keep it like that. But in case you wanted to keep the claws separated, just Control C. You can just hide them. symmetry. And split hidden. It's not such a destructive workflow, this merge by union. So, well, now that I have it merged, I don't really care about these polygroups anymore, but I could eventually use them. I got some hideous errors here. But I'm sorry guys, I have no idea what's happening. But have you seen this before? Let me... Did I undo? Gosh, my mind. I don't know what I did. Anyways. Sometimes ZBrush can do unexpected things. And you just have to figure out or redo until things work again. That's the way of 3D. Okay, you refuse to be same polygroup. I see. Oh, that's a better pipe. I haven't changed really anything in the middle section, so let's try again and see if you're going to cooperate. Maybe it's because I use the symmetry. Yeah, now it's working. Yeah, be careful with the symmetry when you're working with the remesh by union. I'm not sure if that was the problem, but yeah, that's the only different thing that I did. But hey, no, it works. And now that I want to turn sculptress mode on, I have to make sure that I have topological off on the smooth, or I'll get this hideous error. Oh no! Okay. And I get stuck here until it turned off. Okay, symmetry please. Now I destroy everything. No. You see how it changed the geometry just where I wanted to. I think I don't show sculptures in my class. I go straight to ZBrush, which is a bit of a different workflow. But for this character, it makes more sense doing it like this. So yeah. No workflow works for everything. I think that's one of the things that I did when I was starting out. I would get into this tutorial streaming services for 1 or 2 months, and I would watch everything that I could find on the software that I was trying to learn. And I would take notes of the things that made sense to me. I would try them out, and keep the techniques that felt natural to me. The rest, I just forgot them. heard someone say once that there's as many workflows as there are artists in the world. I definitely am getting ugly deformations from this claws. I should have kept them separated. What's this? Sorry guys, I'm going to undo. This is the ugly, the boring thing of watching people sculpt in a live stream. If I get a mistake, you have to suffer with me. Hidden.
Well, I think that's the glory of it being in a live stream, right? It's going to make everyone that's ever used any of these softwares feel like, oh, this is a normal person. They're not a superhero. They run through the same problems that I run through.
Yeah. The nice thing about tutorials is that you can edit those parts away, so it's a bit faster. You don't repeat the same errors if you're sculpting along. But I would always recommend to watch the tutorial and see if the technique that you're seeing works better for you than what you normally do. Because, yeah, that's the thing. You're learning something new. You're watching a new perspective. And I don't know if you feel like this also, Chris, that sometimes lately it feels like everyone is commenting on how you should do things on the internet, but we cannot actually choose which feedback we receive, we keep, and which feedback we let go.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just having a conversation about that today with some colleagues of mine. But yeah, I feel that people are doing that, or feel that there's like a certain way to be an artist sometimes. Like we were talking about brushes, right? Where every time like you're working on something, people are like, oh, well, what brush did you use? As if that's the secret trick that's going to make them, get it all figured out. And it's like, well, it's not just that, right? It's the work that you put on it, and it's what you do and all that stuff.
Yeah, but sometimes you just want to know which brush that is and try that out.
That is true. That is true. And that's fair, right? You're coming at it from that curiosity. But if you're looking for like the cheat code, right? The thing that's going to fix it.
This brush is going to make everything that you sculpt look beautiful.
Yeah.
No fails.
Exactly.
Always. Yeah. This is the magic button that nobody told you about.
Yeah. And you'll get no errors in ZBrush.
Yeah. Honestly, if there was one, I think it's the smooth brush in ZBrush. Everyone like.
I should start asking that question. Like, what's the one brush that if you had to keep forever and get rid of all the other brushes? I mean, obviously, it wouldn't work quite that well, but
no, you can't live without move.
Can't live without it. What about you, chat? What is the number one like our artistic tool you can't live without? Some of you may be using Photoshop, some of you may be using ZBrush. So let's just open it up. Like, is it your tablet? Is it a pencil? Is it a piece of paper? I'm curious to know what the chat thinks. Because they're getting into all. Oh, here they go. MS Paint. Let's go, Mini Android.
Yeah, Claybrush is a pretty good one also. Coffee, yeah, absolutely.
Coffee, there it is.
Yeah. Guys, I just noticed that my character is not symmetrical here in the tail. Yay, I messed up. If you run into this issue, turn off local symmetry and use mirror on world. Yeah, if you get this weird geometry in the center with Sculptis Pro, it's very easy to get rid of it. Just that note. Let's go back to the brushes. Control
It's
C. Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, Control Z was a really good one.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. And sleep. That thing has always eluded me. I feel like being an artist and sleep, they just don't go hand in hand. And I feel like you have a feeling at one point they will, but they never do.
There are moments in life in which they kind of make peace. There are moments. But sometimes sleep will elude you like super early in the morning, other times be at night. Be thankful that I'm in the old phase right now, otherwise I wouldn't be able to be here.
We're all thankful that you are here with us, Carol, and walking us through this amazing sculpt. And I'm sure everybody in the chat and everybody watching would agree.
Thank you so much. Okay. Yeah. This bump here, I don't know why I did that. Probably from some view it was needed. Yeah, not from that one. Also, when you're working with blobs, you don't need to see this in the concept, but you always want to have this idea of weight in your character. So yeah, imagine that all the mass that's in the arm is going to weigh a bit. So you want to add a bit more volume in the underside. Unless it's a very muscular character, in which case, yeah. Don't mind me. But even so, okay, let's do the mouth. I think the mouth makes the character come together. We also have this thing that you want to make a change, but then you suddenly see this other thing that you can't let go. Shape of the tail is weird, right over there. I'm going to change it later. Let's go to the mouth. With Control and Alt, you can zoom in and zoom out the images in PureRef. It took me like a year, like 3 years to find that out. But I, for the longest time, didn't have a mouse, so finding that info was critical.
I'm sorry, real quick. Did you say you didn't have a mouse?
Yeah, I didn't like to use a mouse because back in my university days, I was doing way too many things that require strength from my hands, and I injured them pretty badly. Like, I had to tie the pen to my hand in order to do anything bad. And, well, playing WoW at that time didn't help either. And it was when I realized that it was when my friends told me that games needed art. Yeah, super random. Lasso mask, guys. Lasso mask is saber. Oh, yeah, perspective. Dear perspective. What I was saying? Oh, my hands. Yeah. When I started using a tablet, which was because I started learning Photoshop, and you can't really paint in Photoshop with the mouse. So I got a normal tablet back then. I realized that the strain in my hands diminished quite a lot, because you can't use the same strength with a tablet that you apply to a pen. I mean, you can massacre a pen and it will still draw, but if you apply way too much pressure to the tablet, you are going to break the tablet. So yeah, learning to use the tablet fixed my hands. And that's
really
why I
good
didn't
tip.
have a mouse.
Yeah, that's a really good tip. That's good to know. If anybody's running into any issues with their hands, switch to a tablet.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be an expensive one. It can be those that don't have the screen, obviously. I started with those. But for me as a traditional artist, it's very difficult to predict where my line will land in the screen when I use those. So when I changed back to a screen tablet, my drawings like leveled up like 10 years of experience in one go. That felt, at least that it felt like that for me. It was like a whole different person drawing. But yeah, there's people that work better with those that don't have the screen. Not me, sadly. These things are expensive and there's no how you say it, place to repair them if they break here in Chile. I have to send them to Brazil or the United States, I think.
Oh, whoa. I did not know that.
I actually have a small screen, what was the name? Those that work like, that are mobile stations.
Oh, like a tablet or no?
Not a tablet, but this from Wacom, the old Cintiq companion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the battery break, and the only way they can help me fix it is if I send it overseas. I mean, not overseas, but to the north part of the continent. So yeah, it's there gathering dust. Someday I'll travel and I'll bring it with me.
Yeah, well,
for repairs.
If anyone from Wacom is in the chat, help your girl out. Send a pre-postage box over so that way we can send it back.
Oh. No, but they are super kind. They always help with any doubts I have. So yeah, nothing to complain. The market here isn't that big either. So yeah, it's understandable.
I guess that's fair.
Mm. It's out of the warranty also, so yeah, nothing to do there. It's my issue.
The woes of having a good tablet.
Yeah.
Well, I guess while we're here and you're working on the mouth and you're sculpting, I got some more questions from you from the chat. How's that sound? Keep going with
Great.
it? Yeah, let's go. So we got one that's asking, what is your favorite ZBrush material to work with?
Oh, this one. And it's a custom-made one. Do you want to see how I made it? Super easy.
I think I can speak for the chat when we say, yeah, let's see it.
Yeah. Well, basically, this material, which is my startup material, is the basic. I'm not sure if it's the basic material, this one, or the two. You can make the same material with either one. Let's pick this one, just because it's lighter. Yeah, I think it's based on that one. Yeah, they're very similar. Yeah, it's the basic material. This one, the one that doesn't have the shine, which is very nice to the eyes, but it's a bit difficult to see the shapes because it does not have a highlight. So what we did here, and this is something that I learned from Gio Nakpil, though he doesn't remember ever showing me this. Looks material. Where is it? Modifiers? Yeah. Here in this specular curve, you want to, oops, I added a new node. You want to grab this guy and give it a steep curve. And now you have highlights that are soft, but they show you where the cut of the shape is. And that's it. That's all.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's my favorite material. Super easy to make.
That was taught to you from someone who doesn't remember teaching it to you.
Yeah, Gio Nakpil. Super cool artist.
Is there an ideal number of polygons for a fully stylized character?
Depends on the company that you're working with. I would say from what I've seen in production of big companies, I won't get into detail because NDA, but 60K, at least that was like the usual back then for a cage. Not so because when you subdivide it, it's going to have more geometry. But let's say for a character without clothing, around 32, 60K, depending on the size of the character, it would be a nice number. We're not talking about clothing or accessories here because each thing comes as its own. But for a smaller company that has to render in computers like mine, you want to go as low as possible. Almost, you can go a bit higher than with a game engine, but you want to go as low as possible. Just enough so that the cage will hold the shape in place and that the rigger gets enough control to deform the character, and everything else goes away. A bit sad. Yeah.
Okay, so then in the same mode of stylized characters, do you have any specific tips on modeling stylized characters with animation in mind?
Always think how your character is going to move. No geometry really fits every need, so if you have a character that's going to be very active and always lifting up their arms, you may want to push the edge loops somewhere that makes it easier for the arm to reach higher positions without having to get pinches there. You can always use you can always test with your model where you put the cuts and stuff, but it's usually on the geometry side of things when you have to start worrying about those decisions. When you're just sculpting, ideally, you don't want to think too much about those things because it's going to hinder your creativity.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And then, so we got another, I apologize if I'm going to butcher the way that this is supposed to be said, but I think it's retopologize. That is a big old word. Good. Do you retopologize in ZBrush or another program?
No, I use Maya. I'm a classic Maya girl.
Is that like a thing? Do you have to have like an ID card that says classic Maya girl on it? It's a membership?
Not really. It's not. I like Maya. I'm used to work in Maya, so yeah. That's what I meant.
So is it comfort, or do you actually enjoy working in Maya for that?
Oh, depends. If I'm feeling creative, no, I need ZBrush because that's where I'm more used to do things. But there are certain things for modeling. I never got quite used to CModeler, so I have some tools in CModeler that I use all the time. But usually speaking, I enjoy topology in Maya way more. Hey, that's a cute smile. Not quite the one I had in mind, but getting there. Straight line here. Okay, the proportions look a bit weird.
And keep in mind, chat, if you have more questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Carol is working on this amazing sculpt, but it's almost as if she's not even distracted at all because she's smoothly answering every question that we've thrown at her so far. We only have a couple of questions left, so go ahead and put your questions in the chat, and we'll be sure to get Carol to them because I mean you've been knocking them out of the park and sculpting at the same time.
Yeah, I think I get less nervous when I can speak have like a normal conversation instead of just describing what I'm doing, which is super self-conscious. So yeah, it makes things easy for me too. So yeah.
I mean,
feel free to ask people, please.
Yeah, it's always interesting watching somebody work through this because for me, like I enjoy 2D drawing and photography, and I'm creative in my own right. But if somebody's like talking to me while I'm doing stuff, I'll just lose it. I can't focus.
Yeah.
So it's amazing to see that you can focus and do this at the same time.
Yeah, there's another factor. I already made one version of this character before, which wasn't good, and I was probably, if it was my normal life, I mean, if it wasn't for the workshop, I sometimes do a character multiple times, like I start them over until I find the shapes that I want. Because it's easy. Sometimes you get trapped in the blob stage of a character and you can't get out of there. And yeah, those characters are usually doomed unless you start them over. Sometimes it's even faster to start something over than trying to fix an existing problem. I mean, a visual one.
Oh, I feel that is definitely with a lot of things. You know the term, did you try turning it off and turning it back on? That's common because people just start over.
For the holes of the nose, I only use them standard. And at this stage, I'm not really worrying too much about how clean the surface is because, yeah, I'm just playing with the shapes. And, well, depending on the character that you're working, sometimes adding a bit of noise gives them the feel like this is skin, or, yeah, gives them an organic something. Oops. I always reach this point where ZBrush complains that it had run out of memory and it's going to delete the history.
You say that very calmly, as if you're not worried about it.
I don't really care. Just, oh no, the house burning, and I'm like, okay.
I'm just gonna
Just
my
pour
episode of
water
The
on it.
Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Actually, I did skip over one question, which we were kind of talking about. But what tablet are you using? So you said you're using a Cintiq?
Yeah, I'm using a Cintiq, and it's one of the newer ones that don't have buttons, which was a thing for me because I was so used to the buttons on the thing. But I think it's the 24 inches pulgadas.
Oh, nice.
And I think there's only one model of that size, so yeah. Not sure if there are new models because I bought it 3 years ago already. Oh my god, how the time goes. That's when my other tablet died. I mean, it didn't die, but the battery inflated to a point where I said, okay, I won't turn you anymore. Turn you on.
Okay, I have a weird question. Just I as a musician, I've always in all my things. So like my computers, my cameras, everything that I own, I've named. Do you ever name anything that you have? So like your tablet that died, did it have a name?
Yeah. It was called the sketchbook. Creo que era in Spanish. In Chile, I don't know if other Spanish-speaking countries call them like that. And my computer right now is called the Boeing 747 because it had the fans it came with were so loud that it was like flying in a plane.
Okay, that's amazing. I was really worried asking that question that you were going to be like, no, that's weird. Only weird people do that. So I'm glad that you have answers. Yeah. My laptop is named Tomato because of a character from a TV show called Cowboy Bebop. His name is Ed. And his computer was named Tomato, or their computer is named Tomato. So that's what I name it. And yeah, if anybody else in the chat is as attached to their things as Carol and myself, please tell us what you have. Oh, here we go. Boyfriend called his old computer Tina. Do we want to know why?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, Jarvis, that's a good one.
Yeah. Some things are better left unanswered.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, I've been procrastinating about the eyes for a long time. Let's see how this open. It looks like it's having a manicure. Manicure pose.
Oh, because it's got a pedicure and a manicure?
Yeah.
At the alligator salon, the gators, or is it a crocodile?
I have no idea what it is, but yeah, I didn't know there were different kinds of alligators, and when I found this image that they say this is a crocodile, this is a caiman, and an alligator, I saw, oh my god, they're so fun, so different, so mystical. Yeah, anyway.
And then you have the one with the butterfly on its nose.
This is a great reference for the shape of the mouth, though. So, yeah, that's why. It's also cute. Here's one from Getty Images with a frog on the head.
Little frog friend.
And I like this one because I can see the whole back of the... What's this? An alligator? Not a caiman or a crocodile.
Yeah.
I don't know without seeing the face. But it seems caimans are more colorful than the other ones. I'm not sure. I'm talking from ignorance. We don't have these guys here. This little cutie. It's going to be a monster when it grows up.
They just swim so fast. That's the scary part about them, is that there really is no escaping from them. They swim so fast. Well, the ones that go in the water, which I think are alligators.
Oh, that's scary. That's really scary. Okay. These are other sketches by Steph that I grabbed for reference to see how she resolves shapes from different views. So even though these are very different crocodiles, well, she said this was a croc, so I'm assuming it's a crocodile.
Yeah, I think it's like the mouth, right? Since it's long and thin. Maybe
but
that's like
the mouth is kind of this caiman thing.
Yeah,
and the
caiman
darkness
and
too.
crocodile.
Yeah.
But not an alligator. Alligator's got a fat nose. Super cute though. Look at
this
all
guy
round.
could be an alligator. This guy here.
I'm petting them with my mouse as if everyone in the chat can see me, but no one can see me petting them. Yeah, there you go.
So let's see. For the eyes, what I'm going to do with the eyes. I think this guy is the most similar to this one. Yeah. These references are of no use here. For the eyes, I mean. But this would be fun, like stuck in the face. Nothing else. Yeah. Definitely not the concept though. Yeah, what color? Fuck stuff. I feel weird by renaming my subtools. Yeah, I feel very few people do that. But it's a good practice. Very recommended. Which way are you facing here? Okay, now we're speaking. And you get this issue that if you pick a point and then the gizmo is pointing any direction, you can use the old transpose thing of grabbing a vertex and then choosing a next one, and this is going to give you the Y direction of the gizmo. So when you switch back, it's pointing the right way. And then to move, you can just use this locator to push it to the center of the figure, and it will keep the direction. I got to use the transpose master before the era of this gizmo. It was a weird change. But I can't really work without either of them now. We have pretty big eye bags. Another thing that's nice to have in the UI, it's this light globe, like this guy here. I have it here, so I can change the source, the position of the light, just super quickly, and I can use the backlight too, but that's just weird.
So actually, as a quick aside, this is one of the first streams that we have like a little background music playing. When you do this on your own, when you're sculpting by yourself in your house, are you listening to music? Are you not listening to music? Like what is your process when you're like in your own mode?
Oh, depends on how much concentration I need. When I'm working in really complicated things, I can't have any sound. Like I put my noise cancelling headphones on, and I try to ignore the world around me. That includes my very noisy cat that today has been super nice and hasn't bothered me a bit.
Oh, what's your cat's name?
Mila.
Mila.
Yep.
Great name.
She chose it. I had like a list of names.
Mm-hmm.
And when I received her, she was called Peppa, which is like seed. And she didn't respond to Peppa. So I started calling her. Peppa's it's a cute name, but she didn't respond to it. So I started calling her for like a few days different names that I liked, like Almendra, which means almond, was one. I don't remember the other ones. And Mila was like, okay, she's not responding to anything I like. What else? And I realized that she made a very particular meow, which sounded like Mia, and that sounded pretty much like Mila. And when I used those sounds, she would answer to me. So yeah, that's how I got her name.
That's awesome. She did choose her name.
Yeah, and it's also a very cute name, which means dear one. I'm not sure in which country. I think it's Russian, but I'm not sure.
Oh,
But anyway.
We got people in the chat chiming in. Mila as in Milanesa, and then another one, Mila in Greek means speak. Interesting. We're learning all sorts of things about your cat's name. That's what we came to the stream for, everyone. Just in case. Yeah, sure, we're here for the sculpting, but also about cat names.
Yeah.
So.
I'm using
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was using the modified basic material, and I think that in mine I have lowered this ambient than the one that I modified before. No, it was the diffuse maybe. Yeah, I think the diffuse is a bit lower because my started material shines a bit less than the basic one. So that was hurting my eyes.
It really is your favorite material then, because you were able to tell that.
Yeah, there was something weird with it. It's not so much about the material, but the glossiness and how much it reflects light that for longer periods of time it can hurt. You have to take care of your eyes after all.
Especially if you're in front of a screen, and I guess in your case, two screens.
Yeah, the second one I try not to look at it because there's a story, precautionary tale. When I was working in games, I'm using way too much geometry here. That's bothering me. When I was working in games, I was very stressed and we had 2 monitors. Why is the stress important? Because I was trying to focus myself always in every direction. And I got this tendency to look at both screens at the same time. So my eyes started drifting away when I was trying to focus normal things. And yeah, that's something that can happen when you work with 2 screens.
So it's almost an exercise of maintaining your focus
Yeah.
in one area. We do have some more questions if you're up for it from the chat.
Do you have more?
Yeah, we have more.
Yeah, go away, please.
Let's go. So, what is the best method for not going too heavy in polygon count and keep the sculpt from running away from you? And I'm assuming running away like getting away. Like how do you self edit yourself? I guess.
I don't know really. I'm used to working. Well, since I started working in games, and we had a very strict poly count back then. Like it was mobile, but mobile when it was starting to get popular. The poly counts were like, you have 3K triangles for this character. Okay, wow. I have a triangle basically. So yeah, I just got used to work in an optimized way. So, and for example, if your character is getting too heavy here, I can always go to Z plugin, decimation master, pre-process, and lower the poly count without losing the shape because it's pretty rough. And I can continue editing it with trees. That can help. I mean, if you're not working on details, obviously, because you lose a lot of resolution here.
All right.
But there are ways. Another thing would be, okay, stepping back from the character once you have the main shapes to the topology, and then continue shaping the cage instead of the sculpt. And for the details, you work in subdivision levels. That's an old one.
So it's like a balance of managing it with the polygons that you're already working with, and then having different workarounds for it if it gets too out of hand. It seems like.
I've seen other people section the model, like there's only a certain number of polygons you can have in a single subtool, so you can section it. And if the figure gets too heavy in a file, you can start sectioning via files. But yeah, not very recommended unless you're very late in the detailing phase.
Very cool.
And I don't know why you would want to have that much geometry if it wasn't for like a mega production, like you were working in Godzilla or something with a NASA computer.
Specifically,
it does not. Yeah, it makes no sense to have that much geometry.
Yeah, not a Boeing 747. You need like a jet engine rocket.
Yeah. No, Boeing is for home use. Domestic travel only.
Okay, so
That's
we
the
do
term,
have.
right?
Yeah, no, you got it right. Look,
Oh,
I would like everyone to know in the audience, real quick. Carol had made a comment on saying that she was worried that she wasn't going to speak properly or that some things were going to get lost in translation. But you've been killing it. In fact, you make me feel terrible. Like I don't know enough English because I also don't know a second language. I know a little bit of Japanese because I come from a Japanese family, but only like
really?
Japanese American stuff. Yeah, but like, my grandmother, she was something called the Nisei, which is a second generation Japanese American. So we only learned like a lot of food stuff. I know how to order a lot of food. And then because I grew up in LA, I know how to order things in like Spanish a little bit, but that's it. But you're killing it. I mean, you're so good. You're so solid. Um, but we are coming to a close on the stream now. We did say we were going to close around 8. Carol, what are you? How are you feeling with this sculpt and where we're at right now?
Yeah. No, I think it's prudent to stop this here because honestly, at this point, I'm just going to go around and do the same things that I've been doing right now. Like it's slowly polishing the surface to get the shapes that I want, to get the attitude of the character. For example, like the head feels too wide here in the back, so I'm going to push it a bit more. Ideally, well, normally if you have a character that has a more defined shape in the concept, you won't have to test so much and you'll get like the feel right away. This is still way off from the concept art. I think the eyelids will make a lot of difference, but yeah, otherwise I'm going to continue this for a long time yet. So I don't want to bore you guys, and it's very late here. I can hear you. Okay, I don't know. I don't know what happened.
You lose me.
Did you?
On my back. Have I returned?
Yeah, no, we can hear you. Yay.
Hooray! I was just saying that I can't believe you think that that was boring in any way, shape, or form. This is one of the first streams that we were able to talk about ice cream and cats and learn so much about the sculpt, which was phenomenal. At first, when I was watching the shapes, I was like, how is it all gonna come together and look like the concept? But it really kind of clicked, which was awesome. I mean, you're a professional. I shouldn't be surprised, but
Yeah, sometimes the blob mode gets the best of us. So yeah, it's something that can happen, especially when you're nervous, like me today.
well, I think you did great. And if you don't want to take my word for it, everyone in the chat, if you think Carol did great, go ahead and I don't know, Carol, what should we do? Cat emotes? Cat emojis? Come on, that's got to be it, right? Cat emojis? Ice cream? What do you think?
Okay.
Crocodile? any
I
kind
know.
of emote or sticker. But Carol, if we want to keep up to date with you, you have an Instagram that we could follow?
Yeah, I'm in a lot of social media. So there's my link tree, and I have a Twitter account. Twitter is kind of wonky lately, so I'm mostly on Instagram lately. I just made a Kara account, which has a lot of social media potential too. It's looking fun. Um, but yeah, I'm updating what I have, what I don't have over there. And I also have a TikTok. I don't use it that much, but yeah, I have a few things there.
That's awesome.
How you say it? Time lapses mostly.
So check out the link
So
tree.
that's it. You can find me there.
And then, of course, the Gnomon Workshop, if anyone's interested, the discount code is It's over here. Wait, it's over here. It is. I got it. I did it, James. James is our mod. And if you're interested in checking out the Gnomon Workshop, go to check that out. Use the discount code, and you can watch tutorials that Carol herself had mentioned. Hey, watching tutorials helps. Check it out. And if you're interested in what Gnomon can do for you, you can send us an email, admissions@gnomon.edu. Check out all our other live streams. Carol, thank you so much for tuning in. I got something I gotta go watch. I think
May the 4th, people. May the 4th.
May the 4th. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a date.
Thank
In
you
the
so
stars,
much.
remember.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Take care.